think like Scatman Carruthers might be around to clean up. I don't know what Scatman Carruthers was doing there, but he was there too. And the idea is that you go to this hotel, and all you got to do is like make sure to keep the lights on, keep the furnace on, don't let anything go off. Any disasters, like you're just there to watch it. But you can spend the rest of your day writing on your novel. Your wife can just hang out; she doesn't do anything, and your kids just like running around the place. All this stuff is really inviting, especially when you're getting a paycheck along with that. Except your kids wanted The Shining, and that's exactly what this place wants. It wants it. That furnace wants your kid. So this place like really stands out. Like right out of the bat, like they give some early years on the construction. So they say this place was built in roughly like 1907. Was completed in 1909. Now, in this scene early in the movie, they specifically say that it was built on an Indian burial ground and that workers had to repel a few Indian attacks during that construction. So that tells us a lot, that this place is highly disputed. It's a lot of charge here. The natives around here are like, yeah, don't build on this. This is something sacred for us. And once again, you guys are like giving them the finger and go right ahead. And you still don't learn. You never learn. This is not the first time, nor would it be the last time that this would happen, right? We absolutely know this, okay? So this is where the problem is going to start off. So this is like culturally, this is like early 20th century American wealth, right? This is all built on highly contested land. It's linked to, this progressive era fantasy, like luxury carved out of like other people's graveyards. This is literally what was going on, right? So one of the things that is going on at this time is this is like the peak of the decadence era. When this place get down, like everything was wild until the Depression, right? Was that 1929? So early 20s, they call that shit the Roaring 20s because they wasn't like, man, let me take a sip so I can break this down to you guys. Let's go beyond scientific here, right? Let's go beyond my notes here and let's talk about who the people were that built this shit, okay? The 1920s was off the hook. The 1920s was a decade of excess, 100%. I don't know if, like maybe the 80s, maybe the 80s caught that same level of excess. Like I was a kid in the 80s, right? I grew up watching all this stuff. I grew up watching a lot of crazy shit. Like the 80s, like our parents are insane. If you guys think Gen X, the reason why Gen X is messed up the way that we are is because of our parents. Okay, that's 100% the issues. So they were a completely wild era. And if you look at a lot of stuff that came out here, like go watch that movie Cocaine Bear. That's out of the 80s. Only they did that. Only they would do something like that. Go look at the stuff they were doing. I'm telling you, our parents, they were off the hook. The 1920s is historically off the hook. They were historically the Roaring 20s. That's all you hear about. Party and bullshit. That's who these guys were. And then the crash, right? Laugh now, cry later. So this is when this place is built. And this caretaker who comes back as a ghost, right, had already murdered his wife. Like in the same hotel, the previous, always ask if they have an opening, right? You're getting a new job. And you're like, hey, you're replacing the last caretaker. What happened to last? This is your next question. When they ask you at the interview, I know it's tough. At the end of the interview, like, do you have any questions? And you're like, okay, do I go for the soft close? Like, when do I start? Or do I ask some bullshit? Like, so tell me a little bit more about your corporate policy revolving acquisitions or something nutty like that, right? You go into something like that. Don't do any of that. Ask a direct question. What happened to the person who replaced me? Anywhere you go, I don't care if it's at Toys R Us, which I don't know if they exist anymore. I don't care if it's at the Overlook Hotel. Ask what happened to the last person that had this job. And that tells you a lot. They don't answer, right? Like the only good answer is, oh, well, we promoted him up. He's taken on a higher position, so we want to, develop him in this position open. That's the only scenario. Anything else is probably like, oh, he left the company. Well, why did he leave the company? That's not a bad one, right? He sought some greener pastures. That's totally okay. But if it's like, oh yeah, what happened to the last guy? Well, he killed his wife and his 2 daughters, and then he took his own life. I need to know this. This would change whether I take this job. One simple question, like this tiny question, but of course he doesn't ask this. So the Overlook Hotel already has all this like stuff in it. It comes from an era of elite access, which per these Epstein files, we kind of know what these guys were doing, right? Wilding out. And this is the roaring time for those people. Those same people who would 60 years later have make cocaine bears. They just exist in different eras, right? That same people, that's where this is what this party and bullshit, right? They were on it in a major way. So these were like alcohol soaked parties. Like, I mean, come on, man. This was wild. This nuts to be. We need to talk more about the roaring 20s, man. Absolute off the hookness, right? So this is the spine of what we got, right? The ownership has changed hands, but the pattern of the hotel has it, right? Different people come in and buy it. The caretaker is always you're always the most at risk for a place like this. Always. Because you're the caretaker. Not the builder, right? Not the guy who bought it. Not the guy who, ordered the construction. The guy just working every day. I got problems with that, but we'll talk about that part later too, okay? But the main thing is that now you're in this isolated location. This is what makes this terror almost worse than any of those. This one is actually singularly worse than all the others because you can't get away. That's a thing that's built into this place. It's a snowbound mountain resort. At best conditions, you're several hours away from town. Road closures. It's winter, so that's why nobody comes up here, because it's winter. The road closes. So, like, look, you're out there. You just have to plan on whatever's going on. You're just gonna be out there. If somebody gets sick, too bad, right? So, this is during the off season. During the busy seasons, place is cranking. It's a luxury hotel. It's right for picking, man, right? This is a different time. So what you see, like breaking down this hotel, you got this central lobby, you got this gold room, you got this special like seduction room in there, you got these weird service corridors or dumbbell corridors, you got all that. You have a whole like wing of apartments. This is where the Torrance family stays. Then you have this like literal maze that's actually there on the property. There's a maze for you to get. Like, here's the thing: if you go someplace and they have a maze, you better get your ass out of there right now. I am not playing with you guys, right? This is the height of you better run. There's a couple of scenarios where you better run, and this is one of them. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing good about a maze, right? Mazes are only good when they get you lost. That's it, okay? And whoever took their time, think about how insidious the person was who sat down and said, first of all, he had the idea that I need a maze. That's an absolutely ridiculous person. That's a savage at a whole different level, okay? He sat down and said, I need a maze. And then constructed one. And they never make them easy because what's the point, right? So if you see a maze, run. But clearly they don't. I mean, there's all types of points in this film. Now, that part was not in the novel, okay? But it was added to the film. So yeah, I think it gave more of a visual. But overall, this is the mythology here. Now, this is the thing. Like, the layout, the spatial relationships of this building have an absolute psychological effects. It's extremely disorienting because you go down these hallways, everything looks the same. Everything's the same. It's supposed to, but everything looks the same. And you know what? I had a story, man. I'm going to tell you guys. Once I was working and I ended up having to be in Phoenix. Like, my company sent me to Phoenix in the summer. Okay. And this is Phoenix, Arizona. So the summertime is essentially their off season. And the industry that I was working in, basically we had a lot of partnerships with hotels. So long story short, or short story long, they got me a room at like super nice. It was like, no, it wasn't this nice, but it was a pretty nice hotel. That was one of our clients in Phoenix. And I was basically there, and it's blazing hot. So nobody's like coming to Phoenix. They come, you come to Phoenix when it's cold other places, right? That's where their big draw is. It's not the summertime, right? Like Palm Springs. You go to Palm Springs really cheaply in the summertime because don't nobody want to be there, okay? And I don't want to be there. So I'm at this hotel and I'm experiencing like, man, there's nobody here, right? It's kind of weird because I still end up being up on like the third floor, which is kind of weird. You're like, okay, I'm just bumping around and you just don't see one. Like just looking down these long hallways that all look the same, you could easily get like, if you confuse your number or something like that. Anyway, I'm feeling this whole thing about this hotel. And this is the insidious nature of this hotel, right? So this hotel, man, it scans you When you come in and you're like looking around and checking the hotel out, it's literally checking you out too. Like the first thing the hotel wants to know is what's wrong with you. That's the first thing the hotel is trying to figure out about you when you come in. What is wrong with you? So the hotel itself, this is insidious, man. It looks for fractures in you, like any addiction, any resentment that you have, any like fragile points in your ego, any sensitivity psychologically that you have. It probes for that. Like that's what it does. It seduces, right? It kind of pulls you in because this is part of its manipulation. And think about it. I just said it's manipulation. Like I said before, this place got intent. Like it's actually trying to do this stuff. It's not playing around. When you come in here, you're against a seasoned pro. He's like, I do this. This is what I do. I'm going for 40 tonight, right? That's what it says when you walked in. And it starts checking you out, man. Like I see your knees looking a little shoddy. You don't look like you got your lateral movement like you used to. All right? Well, I'm about to attack that. That's what it says about your brain. So although there are ghosts there, this is not necessarily just a house full of ghosts. It's actually a place where it's putting together your identity. Like this place is actually profiling you. And it gets right, I don't know how, but I guess it's got telepathy or, mental abilities, obviously, because it gets inside of your brain and it digs out everything that you got problems with. And then you start to see physical manifestations. Like that bartender wasn't really there. I don't know if you guys haven't watched the movie, that's not going to make any sense, but there was a bartender who was serving drinks and he wasn't really there, okay? The other day I caught up the stairs, saw a man who wasn't there, passed him the stairs again today, right? That whole that was a dude, except he's serving up drinks. So he's the manifestation of Jack's addiction history. He manifests, like they went to Jack's noodle and they're like, what? They're just poking around. Oh man, you drink too much. Okay, you drink too much. Now we're going to put this right in front of you. Okay. Then you see him like weaponizing his simmering resentment against his wife. Like he explodes that on poor Shelley Duvall. Okay. And she was the perfect person to look scared. She looked scared all the time. Even when there wasn't scary scenes going, she looked scared. But this place was all about it, man. And then like you have the seduction where you have like these, I'm not lying. You got these beautiful naked women. This is what he's seeing, right? But then like, once you get up on her and you're like, yeah, okay, word, right? I don't believe in safe sex anyway. Once you get up on her, then she starts to decay, right? So that's what this hotel is. I'm going to show you what you love. And then right at the moment when you think you got it, it laughs in your face. It's to psych your mind with a dead body. That's as poignant as it could possibly get. Then there's this blood elevator, right? And then I know you got like the blood elevator. And I've seen some other films copy this blood elevator, but Stanley Kubrick is the one who did this. He deserves mad props, right? Like the symbolism of an elevator, like the whole torrent, it's insane when you talk about like this place is manifesting this stuff just with you. That's it. Not everybody even sees it. Other people there might not even see it. It's very specific, which works into the isolation. And then there's these weird kids, where these two little weird twins walking around this place, just appearing out of nowhere and just trying to lure you into places, right? Like this, they were from like an old folk. Like these kids have been around since like 1921. They're still around the hotel. And they died in the hotel, and they keep coming back with the living. So that's really what it is. Like, and the family themselves, like, you got to think, man, you got to be insidious to target a family, like a dad, mom, and a kid. Like, I get a bunch of frat kids. I don't mean that frat kids. But, like, you guys are a lot more disposable in movies. You guys go places where you're not supposed to go. You drink too much and break all the rules. So I can't be responsible what happens to, like, 5 frat kids on, like, a holiday treat. Like, we look forward to you guys going places and it going bad, right? You have to. We need you guys to go to the Camp Crystal Lake. We need you guys to go places. We need you to go to the lake where the piranha monsters are. Like, we've accepted that a lot of you guys in your frat boy years, you're not going to make it. In your sorority years, for movie culture, we've already accepted that you guys got to go bye-bye. But we don't expect that with a family. So that's like, you're really, really raw when you target the family. And Jack, like, so the Pops makes the ideal vulnerabilities, right? He's recovering alcoholic. He actually had fucked up the kid when he was drunk one time. His career was on stuck right now. He's a writer, so he had resentment. Now I got a wife, financial stresses. Like he was hell bent for that. So everything was just right for him, and the grandiose nature of the hotel, it just fed right into it. But the whole thing is that like it's targeting the whole family. Like Shelley Duvall is completely scared because she's been traumatized. So she's highly anxious. Like she was primed for this, and then the boy who's special he's telepathic and clairvoyant. So he's exactly what the Overlook wants. It's a transmitter, it's a receiver, it's the way for hotels to speak to people, and it wants to use him. So it wants him and targets it, right? But the threat, so there's a lot of threats going on here. This is what you guys are gonna have to be ready for when you get up here. I'm gonna lay everything out for you. Don't fuck this up, okay? You're not gonna make it out of this if you miss any of the rules I'm about to lay down to you. I'm gonna wait for everybody to get a pencil, okay? All right, just remember it then if you don't have a pencil. That's fine. You're not gonna remember it, but whatever. You have different threat levels when you step into this bad boy, right? First, you have real environmental threats. This is winter isolation. This is snow that cuts off roads. You have hypothermia risk. You have, especially in this maze, you get trapped in this maze, you're gonna freeze to death. You have limited escape paths, like you have a snow cat, but that's your only point of like exit, right? That's threat number one that you have to be consciously aware of when you go up there with your family and don't come back, okay? The second threat is psychological, right? It's cabin fever, it's monotony. Like these are real things, even without a ghost being around. These are just real things. You start getting this amplification of addiction and resentment being isolated together. You've been around, like, you know, when your cousin comes over and he stays too long and you love him until then, that like a family can work like that with a husband and wife and a kid, you're running around riding your scooter. You know how it is. This is what's going on with this family. Obsessive work cycle. So you're working all the time at this hotel. Another thing that's going on, right? So all this stuff, then these weird like visual apparitions, voices. Can you imagine what that's like? I'm gonna chill for a moment and sit in that moment. I want to sit in the moment where you're like, see, she knows you're right on point, man. The Shining is, it's an epic movie. Like this is one of the best directors of all time. I'm telling you guys, you gotta watch this. Visually, it's actually a stunning movie. So there's all these threats that are going on, and all this violence. Like this is all violence. This is violence from colonial violence baked into this, right? This is elite decadence stacked on top of it. You have this psychological resonance that builds up from every violent act, every time somebody broke down, every obsession, every little girl that got choked to death. It's all right there. It's all just stacking. Because nobody came through this bad boy with some sage, right? Nobody lit up some sage and cleaned that bad boy out. Nobody has done that, right? Like you probably, like you feel the building exit if you had some sage up in that bad boy, right? And then it has this temporal loop to July 4th, 1921, right? The day, like when it's from one caretaker to the next, and it's locked in a temporal loop. So it'll start playing that bitch, even though it's not your memory. It's gonna play it. So it's coming at you in a lot of ways because it knows you're not gonna get out of there, right? It's all bad business, right? And then, you know, like in the film, you know, Jack dies, right? He had to go into the maze and sacrifice to his own inability to navigate the day. He got in there and he couldn't get out of the maze, and that killed him. And Wendy and Danny survive, and the house doesn't get them in. But it would attach to Danny, and he would come back years later in Dr. Sleep. Like, it's brilliantly like how they hint at. Too bad it took so long to get to this. But the labyrinth, all this stuff is like